Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Randall Franks. It's my pleasure to be here today directing what happens on the stage. We're glad to have you here for our awards. I want you to put your hands together for a talented gentleman who has contributed to the legacies of so many of our favorite bluegrass artists, from Del McCoury to Larry Cordell and Weary Hearts and so many others through the years. Five-time Bass Player of the Year for the IBMA. Please make welcome Mike Bubb.
Thank you, Randall. Good afternoon, Chattanooga. All right. I always like a new beginning. Everything's new and fresh, and we get to figure it out. It's great to be here this afternoon, and we're here to honor our 2025 Industry and Distinguished Achievement Award winners. And again, my name is Mike Bubb. I'm a bass for hire is my current job, but I'm a lifer. I've been coming to these things since, I guess, the mid-'80s, and always paid off for me every time I came here with either a new job or something that came out of IBMA. So we're glad that everybody's here and made the trek to Chattanooga. We're here to present these awards, which recognize all the outstanding work in the non-performing bluegrass industry categories. The industry awards are given annually to professionals who are dedicated to furthering bluegrass music through various mediums, and many of these people work tirelessly and thanklessly behind the scenes to bring concerts, festivals, and other projects to fruition. We'd like to acknowledge and thank the Benwood Foundation. They're the presenting sponsor for this luncheon. And the Benwood Foundation, they're committed to Chattanooga's prosperity. They work alongside nonprofits, foundations, government businesses, and community leaders for the betterment of all of Chattanooga's community. So let's give it up for the Benwood Foundation, all right? To tell you all about the great support about which the IBMA Foundation gets and they provide people in our industry, please put your hands together and welcome Nancy Cardwell and Becky Buller.
In bluegrass music, it's really important to be able to count to 4 in order to kick off a fiddle tune. Just like that. And dancers sometimes have to count to 8. So don't worry, we're not going to dance for you today. Becky is going to dance for you today. Good, I'm not. Anyway, Becky, did you know that the IBMA Foundation for Bluegrass Music found 58 ways to support the future of bluegrass music last year?
I've heard that, and even more important are the names and faces, programs, stories, and wonderful bluegrass music behind each number.
True, very true. Since the foundation was created in 2007, more than $530,000 have been awarded in scholarships, grants, and for programs. And last year, we awarded more than $74,000. Thank you. Appreciate the applause.
More than 500 people shared the mission to support the future of bluegrass music with their donations. Are you guys ready to count now? Okay, I said, are you ready to count?
Okay.
Woo!
It's a little early in the morning to count to 58. I'll help you. 7 Bluegrass in the Schools mini grants were awarded in 5 states to help bands to do educational bluegrass programs for kids.
5 college scholarships were sent to students from Tennessee, Kentucky, Delaware, and Pennsylvania last year.
That's right. 9 Fletcher Bright Memorial Grants were given to young musicians for tuition at camps in 4 states and for lessons in Michigan and Texas.
8 Terry Bauckham Bluegrass Education Grants went to musicians of all ages headed to camps in North Carolina, Idaho, Indiana, and Texas.
And there are 2 new educational webinars on the Foundation website, one for MCs and one about demystifying grant writing. Sorry. Do you think grant writing is mystifying?
I absolutely think I know that grant writing is mystifying. The foundation hosted 2 nights of Bluegrass College band showcases in 2024, featuring 10 bands.
We also launched 1 new $50,000 Bluegrass Youth Education Fund to honor the memory of banjo player and Northwestern University Kellogg School of Management professor Bill Breen.
15 project grants supported programs in 8 states, plus Switzerland, the Czech Republic, and China, including 6 grants to after-school junior Appalachian musician programs.
8 Arnold Schultz Fund grants were sent to people and programs in 4 states in the United States: China, Kenya, Thailand, and Uganda.
And more, that's 58. But this week we're hosting a 2-night Bluegrass College Band Showcase on Friday and Saturday nights at the Youth Stage, featuring 12 college bands from 9 states. And tickets for the new Biscuits for Bluegrass fundraiser Saturday morning sold out the first week it was announced. Thank you all for that. But you can participate in the silent auction at bluegrassfoundation.org. That's bluegrassfoundation.org, which is open until 10:20 a.m. on Saturday, September 20th, for your shopping pleasure.
Cool. Sounds like you have a radio broadcaster in your band, yeah. We're having a new reception and jam session for college band students late Friday night, sponsored by Lori Greenberg. And there will be pizza and jamming involved for our college band students that are here this week. Always a good thing. A special reception also we're holding this afternoon to honor grant and scholarship recipients, which is sponsored by Rick Lang Music, Rick and Wendy Lang.
And we're thrilled to award 2 brand new college scholarships for a total of 7 now. Maggie Thornton at East Tennessee State University is the first Gloria Bell Memorial Scholarship recipient, and Hayden Riedling at Berklee College of Music is the first person to get the Mike Aldridge Memorial Scholarship.
Yeah. And thanks to Becky, yeah, let's clap for that. That's good. We're excited to have those new scholarships and the endowment funds to support them forever. Thanks to Becky Buller and Howard Parker for starting those 2 scholarships. And we also have a new Rosenberg Bluegrass Scholar Award winner this year, sponsored this year and next year by my friend Paulo Dateweiler, who is one of my favorite mandolin players from Switzerland.
And did you hear about the Arnold Schultz induction into the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame tonight? We hope to see y'all there. It's so exciting to celebrate the first Black musician to be inducted into the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame in the early contributions category for his musical influence on a young Bill Monroe growing up in Rosine, Kentucky.
Yes. We'll hear more about that later tonight. The IBMA Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization completely funded by our donors. That's you all, guys. We support programs fostering the growth of bluegrass music, and we are a growing foundation with an international reach that provides a way for you to create a bluegrass legacy.
Before we leave, let's give a hand to IBMA Foundation Executive Director Nancy Cardwell. She has announced her retirement next year on June 30th, 2026. She's served on the IBMA staff for 20 years, including 2 years as your executive director. And in June, she will wrap up 10 years with the foundation. 30 years is a long time to have a bluegrass day job.
It certainly is. Well, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. This has been the best board I've ever worked with. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, guys. Let's see. I intended to bring my red bandana handkerchief in case that happened, but on stage with me. I forgot it. But anyway, 30 years is a long time and a great time to pass the torch to the next executive director of this wonderful organization that supports the future of bluegrass music. And thank you so much. This has been the best board of directors I've ever worked with in my life, and the foundation is doing good work, as you've just heard. And if anyone is interested in becoming the next IBMA Foundation Executive Director, please stop by the foundation booth in the Expo Hall and pick up the job posting. And it's also on our website, which Becky mentioned before, bluegrassfoundation.org. Come see us at the booth, make a donation. Check out the Martin guitar on the table that we'll be raffling off for the Strings for Dreams raffle in the spring. And while you're at it, be sure to stop by the Pisgah Banjo Company booth. They have this great banjo that they're raffling off now online that will benefit the Arnold Schultz Fund. And I'd also like to recognize all present and former IBMA Foundation board members, committee members, everyone who received an IBMA Foundation grant or scholarship in the past year. If you just quickly wave or stand and let people know who you are. Thank you very much.
We kindly invite you to go to bluegrassfoundation.org. That's bluegrassfoundation.org. Get involved and let's work together to create a brighter future for bluegrass music. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becky and Nancy. Fantastic. Great work at the foundation. We appreciate what they do for the musicians and organizations out there. Next, I'd like to introduce to you a representative from the California Bluegrass Association, an association near and dear to my heart. They put on a great festival in June out there in Grass Valley, California. Would you put your hands together for Pete Luday?
Hello, Chattanooga. I've always wanted to be a member of the Bub Club. Thanks for that, Mike. Maybe he'll let me in someday. I'm Pete Luday, Executive Director of the California Bluegrass Association, and it is a great honor to be here once again as a co-sponsor of this wonderful luncheon. IBMA does such a wonderful job recognizing the non-performing musicians in these industry awards, as well as these distinguished achievements, and we're really happy to be part of the party that's making that celebration. It's also, of course, an excuse for us to remind you that, yes, the High and Lonesome Sound does extend west of the Rockies, and California has a vibrant bluegrass community. The CBA, with almost 3,000 dues-paying members, is one of the largest membership bluegrass organizations in, gosh, maybe the world, who knows? But they're certainly the most friendly. We're celebrating our 50th year in existence as an organization, and we're looking forward to 50 more. Thank you. It's not easy surviving, but we're so thankful to have such a vibrant and supportive community. And many of you, as Mike mentioned, know us for our large Father's Day Bluegrass Festival that is held every June for 50 years now. You know, it's that one that some lady wrote a song about called Grass Valley, and it went on to win a Grammy. I don't know how many. I'm sure all of you festival promoters have a Grammy Award-winning song written about your event, but we could talk about that later. What you may not be as familiar with is all the other programs that CBA is doing to keep true to our mission of preserving and promoting bluegrass music. You maybe have heard about our youth program that pioneered the concept of kids on bluegrass more than 30 years ago. We also have programs such as Bluegrass Bridge that brings bluegrass music and instruments to incarcerated individuals. We have the Bear Fund, which is there to aid musicians that are incapacitated or impacted by adversity. So we really want to give back to the musicians that give so much to us. We have a new one called Spectrum Bluegrass, launched last year for the neurodivergent community, especially people on the autism spectrum, bringing music together as a cohesive factor on those that are on the autism spectrum. And perhaps my favorite, what we call ABC, the After School Bluegrass Club. This is bringing bluegrass music to classrooms and underserved communities throughout California. It's a once-a-week program that has multiple instruments, jamming techniques. As you might guess, it's inspired by the wonderful work that's been going on for decades by junior Appalachian musicians, and they've been most supportive in helping bring that sort of program to California, ABC. We always appreciate your input, collaboration, ideas, and a gentle reminder, you don't need to live in California to be a member of CBA. If you want to learn more, there's some newsletters in the back there. Go to californiabluegrass.org and learn more about the California Bluegrass Association. Now, it's my real pleasure to welcome this next band that's coming up here. They hail originally from the great state of North Carolina, but relocated to the bluegrass capital of Chicago. We consider them honorary Californians and hope to see them out there sometime soon. You may have seen them perform, tearing up the stage at Merle Fest, maybe Planet Bluegrass, or even at the Bluegrass Hall of Fame where they've performed. Even though almost all of them are still in high school, band members have already won the first class banjo contest at Rocky Grass, first prize fiddle contest at Rocky Grass, awards at the Gaelics Banjo Contest, and they're about to win your heart. We want you to welcome, as of yesterday, Dark Shadow recording artists, the Sullivan Sisters.
How's everybody doing today? We're the Sullivan Sisters. We're here all the way from Chicago, and we are so excited to be here playing for you all up here. We're going to play you all a song off of our debut EP that just released this August. This is one of my originals called Can't Make a River. Used to love this river, would go out walking every night, sit down on the rocks and watch the water rushing by. And right there's where you whispered that you loved me for the first time. Now I'm crying here alone because you told our love goodbye. Now I'm standing on the banks of the river, wishing the current would sweep me away. And in that brown and muddy water, I could drown all of my pain. And I'd go back if I could, but some lessons I learned the hard way. Like a person's heart ain't something you can change. Can't make a river run back the way it came. The first time that you brought me here, I thought you were the one. The way you looked into my eyes made me feel like I was enough. I put my head down on your shoulder and we talked till the sun came up. I jumped right in and fell for you, but ain't that just the way of young love? Now I'm standing on the banks of the river, wishing the current would sweep me away. And in that brown and muddy water, I could drown all of my pain. And I'd go back if I could, but some lessons I learned the hard way. Like a person's heart ain't something you can change. And you can't make a river run back the way it came. Got caught up in your current, you swept me out to sea. Felt good while I was in it, but the water was too deep. It's funny how a love so strong can fall into debris. I think I've known for a while now that we just weren't meant to be. Now I'm standing on the banks of the river, wishing the current would sweep me away. And in that brown and muddy water, I could drown all of my pain. And I'd go back if I could, but some lessons I learned the hard way. Like a person's heart ain't something you can change, and you can't make a river run back the way it came. Well, we've got time for one more song for you all, but I'd like to take a second to introduce this incredible band that we've got with us. Over here on bass, this is Sammy Mougin. On fiddle, this is Finn McGinnis. On mandolin, this is Oscar Caudell. My name is Soraya Sullivan. This is my sister, Lucia Sullivan. We'd like to give a huge thank you to the California Bluegrass Association for inviting us to come play, and thank you all so much for listening. This last song is one called Carolina Bluebird. Carolina Bluebird, why'd you go fly so far away from me? Why'd you go back to the mountains, leave me waiting for you down here in the city? Carolina Bluebird, if you ever get tired of being alone, if you ever start missing me, well, honey, won't you please just fly on home? Well, darling, I've been thinking about back when you would love me so well. All throughout the summertime, your song had me under its spell. But once the leaves were dying and the fall was getting old, the heart you gave to me turned cold. Carolina Bluebird, why'd you go fly so far away from me? Why'd you go back to the mountains, leave me waiting for you down here in the city? Carolina Bluebird, if you ever get tired of being alone, if you ever start missing me, well, honey, won't you please just fly on home? Well, I guess I should have known that a wild bird would never stay inside, and it was just a matter of time before you'd up and leave and tell me goodbye. I keep staring out the window, looking at the clouds, hoping they'll bring my baby back around. Carolina Bluebird, why'd you go fly so far away from me? Why'd you go back to the mountains, leave me waiting for you down here in the city? Carolina Bluebird, if you ever get tired of being alone, if you ever start missing me, well, honey, won't you please just fly on home? Why'd you go back to the mountains, leave me waiting for you down here in the city? Careful little bluebird, if you ever get tired of being alone, if you ever start missing me, well, honey, won't you please just fly on home? If you ever start missing me, well, honey, won't you please just fly on home? Thank you all so much.
All right, the fabulous Sullivan Sisters. Okay, let's get down to our first industry award of the day. You ready? The first award is going to go to Graphic Designer of the Year. And everybody knows how important graphics are in this day and age. And this next award will go to a designer for outstanding work in the creation of physical and or digital graphics and presenting bluegrass to the public. These nominees are Andrea Roberson, Audrey Fletcher, Carla Webby, Gina Dilge, and Rebekah Speer, or as Tom T. Hall used to call her, Rebekah. And the award goes to Gina Dilge.
This is totally surreal. Thank you so much. I'd like to give many thanks to the IBMA and to the artists and organizations that trust me with their work. Especially a big shout out to California Bluegrass Association. The past couple years have been really, really fun to work with you all. To my friends and colleagues for their inspiration and their creativity. To my family and to my husband, Jason Dilge. Thank you.
All right, way to go, Gina. Okay, now we're going to get into our first Distinguished Achievement Award. And Distinguished Achievement Award recipients are recognized for their fostering of bluegrass music's image, recognition, and accessibility. And it's an acknowledgement of their significant contribution and dedication to our bluegrass community. The award extends to individuals for their contributions in specific categories of music, media, business, and just general other things behind the scenes. And the awards committee selects up to 2 individuals in the general category and 1 individual from the other 3 categories for recognition. Page 2. And our first Distinguished Achievement Award recipient is none other than legendary West Coast DJ Alan Arthur Knoth, otherwise known as Cousin Al on KFAT Radio for years and years. We're proud to present Alan, Cousin Al, with his 2025 Distinguished Achievement Award. And here to present this award to Cousin Al is none other than Dr. Banjo Pete Wernick, future Hall of Famer. Here we go.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. You know, we go back. He attended my very first banjo camp in 1980 in Oregon, and I was 34, and he was 14, believe it or not. Let's see if I can get this laptop open. Here we go. Tonight, we honor Cousin Al Knoth with IBMA's Distinguished Achievement Award for Media for his evergreen contributions to bluegrass. Al Knoth grew up in San Jose, California, and first saw and heard five-string banjo in the Army. He gave up tobacco to save money to buy his first banjo. Pretty cool. Before there was a California Bluegrass Association, there was Cousin Al's Bluegrass Show, putting the sounds of banjos and fiddles and mountain harmonies into the ears of radio listeners all across Northern California. His first show aired in 1970 on KTAO in Los Gatos, and then on the legendary KFAT in Gilroy. Can we hear it for KFAT, you California people? You Easterners don't know what you missed, which I guess was part of why it took so long for Al to get this Lifetime Achievement honor. On KFAT radio, amidst a free-form mix of country and rock, Cousin Al's Bluegrass Show was the spot on your listening week to hear Flatt and Scruggs, the Stanleys, Bill Monroe, Jimmy Martin, and the newer acts like Tony Rice or Ricky Skaggs, and very importantly, deserving local acts getting the precious airplay they depend on. You'd hear in-studio performances by local and traveling artists with an occasional break for some Hawaiian music or a quick comedy sketch from Stan Freberg. Stan Freberg, remember him? Or National Lampoon or Steve Martin. When Hot Rise was just starting out, I had the challenging job of being the agent for our unknown Colorado band, none of us having been in the band of any famous bluegrass band leader. When we aspired to play on the West Coast, I was told to give this guy, Cousin Al at KFAT, a call. So I asked for his real name, but I was told to just call him Cousin Al. Agents for unknown bands cannot always expect a warm welcome from a busy DJ, so I was very nicely surprised by the warmth extended to me by Cousin Al. He showed genuine interest. When we visited him at the radio station, he made us feel so at home that I came to see him as an important ally for us. It was always great to see him at festivals. He just loved his job, and he knew what that was, to bring his favorite music to his favorite community. It was clear that he was what I call a lifer. Bluegrass was way up on his list of personal priorities for the long haul. Cousin Al's love for bluegrass was passionate and contagious. He'd tell you to listen hard and listen close in his warm bass voice that blended Southern twang with the bright California sunshine in those days, going back a half century. Al's vision placed him at the intersection of hippiedom and bluegrass that stretched across farm towns, over the Santa Cruz Mountains, through the still emerging Silicon Valley, which we've all heard of, and on up past San Francisco, pulling in both longtime fans and making new recruits with every show. Across his career of 40-some-odd years, Cousin Al emceed stages at bluegrass festivals and presented live concerts of his own around California. In the 1990s, he moved to KFAT's successor, K-Pig FM radio in Freedom, California, one of the first radio stations to broadcast live on the internet. Remember, we've all heard of that. Bringing Cousin Al's Bluegrass Show every week to bluegrass audiences not just nationwide, but worldwide. Over the airwaves and through his in-person engagement and advocacy, Al helped lay the foundation for the California Bluegrass Association, as well as the Northern California Bluegrass Society, and the culture that makes Northern California probably the most active outlander regions in bluegrass music today. Tonight, we honor the late Cousin Al. We who were there will never forget you. we can listen now to just a bit of Al's farewell to his radio audience.
Well, that's it for a Bluegrass Show on the Fat One forever, friends. That's about all I can say. I don't know what to say, except that I love y'all and thank you for all the support. This has just been a real pleasure. It's been as much pleasure as I've given you as has been more than enough for me. And we got to remember a few things. Remember to take care of yourself. Nihilism means nothing to the dancing peasants. And of course, time flies like an arrow, but fruit flies like Stockton and Los Angeles and San Jose and Cousin Al. You're listening to the Fat One for the whole world, KFAT Gilroy. I'm Cousin Al, and I'll be seeing you soon.
Here he was. Wish he was here tonight. Accepting this award for his father, here's a musician Cousin Al was mighty proud of, Al's son, Matt Knoth, to accept the award.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Al's son, Matt.
And I'm his grandson, Charles De Philippis.
We're honored, thrilled, and extremely proud to receive this prestigious award on Cousin Al's behalf. But first, we have to thank the IBMA for this wonderful spread, and especially Andrea Roberts and Lanny, who got our whole contingent out here so that we could celebrate Al's legacy, and especially, of course, Pete, for all of his tireless work on the campaign to get Al recognized. Surely without Pete's work, this award never would have happened. I must also thank my friend Chris Araneta back out in California, and Michael Hall from the Northern California Bluegrass Society, who helped tremendously with the making of this presentation. Likewise, this award simply would not have happened were it not for the selfless efforts of Tim Eads, Jim Ingram, and especially Gail Thomas at the California Bluegrass Association. This award is really for them.
Next, Grandpa would like to thank his family, Duke, Nadine, Jolene, and of course, Skeet. These folks are also like family. Peter Grant taught Cousin Al how to play banjo. John Berg was Grandpa's lifelong musical mentor and conscious and still calls me every show. Stevie Hogle was Dad's chief fan, confidant, and guardian angel, as we suspect.
Shaka bra.
Frank Ford and Richard Johnson at Griffin, Lorenzo Milo at KTAO, Laura Ellen, and Frank Caprista at KFAT. Dave Ristrom, too, is like a second son to Grandpa. And of course, Mike Russell at KKUP.
The following musicians always had time for Cousin Al, and he loved them for it. Peter Rowan, Laurie Lewis, and Tom Rosem, Billy Petrone and Bean Creek, Lone Prairie, Sammy Scheller, Russell Moore, David Grissman always liked to smoke a joint with Dad. Ask me what a joint is after, I'll let you know. Bobby Earl and the Earl brothers, Jody Stecker and Kate Brislin, and of course, the great Ledward Ka'apana, who Dad was so successful in bringing his music to the West Coast. Finally, I'd like to thank Kim Elking. She knows why, my wife Elise. Cousin Al taught me to love music and to do so passionately. He left an indelible mark on bluegrass, and I'm proud to call him my father.
Grandpa gave me the love of radio, bluegrass music, railroading, and cars, all of which I still carry on to this day. But finally, the biggest thanks of all goes to his listeners. He loves spending his time with you. Time flies like an arrow.
And fruit flies like Chattanooga.
All right, thank you.
Fantastic. All right, the next award is going to go to Photographer of the Year. And we recognize a photographer for outstanding work in their service to the bluegrass music, of course. This year's nominees for 2025 Photographer of the Year are Sophie Clark, Laci Mack, Kevin Slick, Jason Tanner, and Madison Thorn. And the award goes to Madison Thorn.
I don't know whether to cry or throw up, so this will be fun. Thank you to my brothers, my chosen family, and to Mr. Flux. None of this would be possible without you guys. This morning, as I was trying to come up with words for this moment, I turned on Newgrass Revival, right? Like a safety blanket. It's kind of like my safety band. I was introduced to the band when I was in my early 20s, so about 10, 15 years ago. I was immediately enamored, and I've been chasing you grassers ever since. But as I was listening this morning, I started thinking about that much younger version of myself and how tragically lost she felt. Because at that time, I knew I wanted to be a photographer, but I had no clue how. And if you had asked me at that time about hope, I would have told you that it was for suckers. I was convinced I didn't believe in it. But one of my favorite memories from that period of time is singing along loudly to Hold to a Dream. The chorus, hold to a dream, carry it up and down, follow the stars, search the world around. My point in all of this is that hope comes in many forms, and it's likely there whether we know it or not. So as artists and humans in tragic times, I implore you to check your back pocket for that little bit of hope that is likely there, because even in the smallest amounts, it contains magnitudes. Thank you.
Fantastic. Looks like Madison's actually working the show today. All right. We're going to move on down to the liner notes of the year. The Liner Notes Award recognizes creation of liner notes for recorded bluegrass album projects. The 2025 nominees for Best Liner Notes for a Recorded Project are Jubilee, Becky Buller, written by Becky Buller. The next album, Julia Bell, the John Hartford Fiddle Tune Project, Volume 2. Liner notes written by Rachel Bayman. Destinations and Fun Places by Rhonda Vincent. Liner notes written by Daniel Mullins. Earl Jam by Tony Trischka. Notes written by Neil Rosenberg. And lastly, remains to be seen, the seldom seen, notes written by Ben Eldridge, Doug McElway, Dudley Connell, Lou Reid, Ronnie Simpkins, Ron Stewart, and Fred Travers. And we have a winner, and the winner is Earl Jam, Tony Trischka, notes written by Neil V. Rosenberg. And accepting will be Dr. Richie Brown.
Thank you all. I talked to my esteemed colleague at the Arnold Schultz Fund, Dr. Rosenberg, who I twisted his arm very hard a few years ago to join and be my co-chair. Neil has a great career as he actually is a great banjo player. He's an ethnomusicologist, in which he has a doctorate in. And he's written many hundreds of articles about bluegrass. And I first met him in 1965 at the Club 47 when he got up and played with Bill Monroe. And I said, hey, this guy's pretty good, you know. And I, learned about his background here. I'll just give you his 25 words. He told me to say this. He said, I'm honored to thank Tony Trischka and Down the Road Records for inviting me to create the notes for this groundbreaking project. And I have to say, Neil is a self-effacing, very modest guy, but he's very talented, and he can still make that banjo crack. And I'm sure that if he's listening here online or wherever, he lives in Nova Scotia, so he's away from us right now, but. He sends his best wishes to everyone here, and I hope everyone grabs a copy of Earl Jam and reads the liner notes, and also listen to the music because it's really good.
Congratulations, Neil and Tony Trischka. Proud to be on that record myself. Okay, our next Distinguished Achievement Award is a presentation to the great Penny Parsons, who's been an advocate for the first generation of bluegrass. And here to present Penny's award, please make welcome Gary Reid.
Penny Parsons has spent over 45 years advocating for bluegrass music. She's made a lasting impact as a writer, a publicist, a producer, a manager, booking agent, and sales and marketing director. Her efforts have elevated the genre, preserved its history, and fostered its growth, making her a deserving recipient for the 2025 IBMA Distinguished Achievement Award in the category of business. Penny's passion for bluegrass began in her youth in Greensboro, North Carolina. She was inspired by airings of the Flatt and Scruggs television show, as well as the folk boom of the 1960s. Her love of bluegrass deepened during her years at Guilford College, where live performances captivated her and set her on the path to promote the genres. And like many of us, her immersion to bluegrass began as a fan and amateur picker. Her career officially began in 1979. She has since worked in various roles to advocate for bluegrass music. As the marketing and publicity director for Sugar Hill Records, she managed operations, wrote press releases, registered copyrights, arranged for advertising. She also produced albums by the Stanley Brothers and the classic Country Gents reunion album, the latter which won the 1990 IBMA Award for Recorded Event of the Year. The album also received an honorable mention for Best Liner Notes from NAIRD. These successes highlighted Penny's ability to combine passion with professional expertise. Now, Penny has been a professional member of IBMA since 1985. In that capacity, she has served on awards committees, business panels, and produced performances for FanFest. As publicity director for MerleFest from 1992 to 2000, she helped grow attendance from 20,000 to 80,000 admissions, showcasing her ability to boost bluegrass to national prominence. She also worked with Roanoke, Virginia's Record Depot Distribution Company with labels such as Rebel and Pine Castle, and worked with renowned bands such as Del McCoury, Doyle Lawson, and Blue Highway, providing marketing and public relations expertise. As a writer, Penny has contributed extensively to documenting and promoting bluegrass music. Since 1981, she's been a freelance writer and photographer for Bluegrass Unlimited magazine, authoring numerous articles and cover stories. Her name has also appeared as a byline to notes on an array of albums and CDs. Penny's co-authorship of the Bluegrass Music Cookbook in 1997 further highlights her creative approach to celebrating bluegrass culture. Her writing captures the essence of the genre and inspires the community. Her writing talents were recognized in 2016 with her receipt of an IBMA Print Media Person of the Year award. One of Penny's most notable achievements was her work with bluegrass legend Curly Seckler from 2004 until his passing in 2017. As his manager, agent, producer, and biographer, she revitalized his career, booking him for prestigious events like MerleFest and the Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival. She arranged television and radio appearances, co-produced 3 of his albums, and assisted in the reissue of his first solo album. Her dedication culminated in the critically acclaimed biography Foggy Mountain Troubadour, The Life and Music of Curly Seckler, which earned a 2016 Association of Recorded Sound Collections Certificate of Merit. Penny's personal connection to the bluegrass community has fostered camaraderie and mutual respect, thus enriching the genre. Her talent and passion have made her a trusted and beloved figure in the bluegrass world. Her lifelong dedication to our music preserved its legacy, elevated its artists, and expanded its reach. Her work with Curly Seckler, her contributions to festivals and record labels, and her writing and advocacy have helped to shape the bluegrass community as we know it today. Her tireless efforts, characterized by excellence, passion, and commitment, have been and continue to be an inspiration to others following in her footsteps. It is an honor to welcome Penny Parsons to the family of distinguished bluegrass professionals.
Wow. Thank you, Gary. Well, my bluegrass life began on September 16th, 1972, when I attended my first bluegrass concert by Lester Flatt and the Nashville Grass. It was a life-changing experience, and just the first of many unexpected gifts that were to come my way over the next 50-some years. Bluegrass music became my passion, and I've been extremely fortunate to make it my life's work as well. Along the way, I've met, worked with, and become friends with many like-minded people, as well as many of the pioneers and innovators of this music. There's not time for me to thank everyone individually, but I'd like to mention some who offered me opportunities and believed in me along the way. Dave Osborne of the Music Barn and Fiddler's Cove in Greensboro, North Carolina. Pete Kuykendall of Bluegrass Unlimited magazine. Barry Poss of Sugar Hill Records. Dave Freeman of Rebel Records and Record Depot. B. Towns of Merlefest. Gary Reid of Copper Creek Records. Judy McCullough and Laurie Matheson of the University of Illinois Press. And bluegrass legend Curly Seckler and his family, who changed my life again when I connected with him in 2003. Special thanks to my friends and family back home for always supporting me in this amazing journey. And thanks to the IBMA and all of you for this great honor. Thank you.
Congratulations, Penny, and thanks for all your great work. All right, here's one that's near and dear to everybody, the Sound Engineer Award. I've got to back up here. All right, the Sound Engineer Award does, there's nothing more important than the wall between the audience and the band, and it's called the sound system. And I'm happy to report that Sonny Osborne and Doyle Lawson are not on the committee for this vote. But a good sound engineer, they're worth their weight in gold, and we couldn't do it without them. And we've got a fine list of nominees for this year's work, and they are, starting with Scott Barnett, Eddie Faris, Clay Miller, Stephen Mougin, and Rebekah Speer. And I'd like to note that some of these guys are in the studio, some people work out in front, some do both. So it's really an overall encompassing award. And the winner this year goes to, the recipient is Stephen Mougin, Mojo. How about that? Don't make Sammy accept. Where's Pops?
Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. He's out playing with the Louisville Orchestra today with Sam Bush. And, well, he recorded a video the day before he left for IBMA. Unfortunately, didn't get to be here. But he would like to thank all of his mentors who have lent him gear and helped him through this journey. It's been an honor to know and call him my greatest mentor, and I know that he is very, very appreciative of this. Thank everyone.
If you didn't know, that's Stephen and Yana's son, Sammy Mougin. We're going to move on to another Distinguished Achievement Award. And this will be presented to the Sidley Austin LLC. And to present that award is our former executive director, Paul Schimminger.
Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. The IBMA's Distinguished Achievement Award bestows special recognition on individuals and organizations who have left a lasting impact on the bluegrass community. Sometimes extraordinary people work behind the scenes, moving mountains to make our bluegrass world far better and stronger. Holly Gregory and the law firm Sidley Austin are a perfect example, and I am deeply honored to present this award to them. I met Holly at my first IBMA board meeting in May of 2015. We were both trying to find the meeting location at the Garret Bennett. I was beginning my tenure as executive director, and Holly was really starting in her role as IBMA's legal counsel, bringing with her the internationally renowned expertise of Sidley Austin. Her first words to me, as I recall, were, "I'm going to make your job a lot easier." Well, that caught my attention. That day, I began to see what she meant, though I didn't realize yet the immense contributions she and Sidley would provide over the years. Holly came to us through a bluegrass connection. She's a passionate mandolin player who was attending Megan Lynch Chowning's and Adam Chowning's Nashville fiddle camp when Sierra Hull was the mandolin instructor. Megan's mother, who we all know, Maria Nadald, learned about Holly's professional career and soon became the matchmaker, connecting Holly with then IBMA board chair John Weisberger. At the time, IBMA could benefit from some governance assistance, and John saw Holly's generous offer to help as a great solution. Thank you, John, for doing that. While she has bluegrass chops, even playing on the Station Inn stage, her legal chops are globally recognized. As partner and co-head of Sidley's global corporate governance practice, she's ranked among the top corporate governance attorneys in the U.S. She is the past president and current chair of the American College of Governance Council, an elected member of the American Law Institute, has served on numerous committees for the American Bar Association. I truly wish I had the time to list her many accomplishments and earned accolades. With these credentials and the choice to help any organization, she chose to serve the IBMA. The expertise she and her colleagues have provided have been truly transformative. Holly has treated the IBMA as if we were a major client paying significant fees to the firm, and her counsel has been invaluable. Here are just a few ways that Holly and Sidley Austin have assisted us without charging us a penny. 1, corporate governance, advising on bylaws, processes, and fiduciary duties. As part of this, Holly conducts a thorough annual review of our board's fiduciary duties and responsibilities. She did so just on Monday. Corporate structure, guiding our transition to 501c3 status, enabled the IBMA to accept grants and grants from foundations and tax-deductible donations without altering what we do for our members and our music. It was a highly complex matter that involved a reverse merger of the IBMA and what was then the Foundation for Bluegrass Music so that the IBMA could become a 501c3 and a newly incorporated IBMA Foundation could continue to thrive as it had under its former name. This was one of the most single important legal accomplishments in this organization's history, and it was critical in helping the IBMA survive the financial hardship of the pandemic while still serving our community with a never-before-attempted week-long virtual World of Bluegrass. 3, general law, advising on numerous agreements and protocols, including many for World of Bluegrass. Visas, providing immigration support for international bands, now including pro bono support for our IBMA's international band grant recipients, saving these bands thousands of dollars in legal fees when applying for visas. Yes, that's a big deal. Intellectual property, registering and protecting IBMA's trademarks. In these and so many other areas of assistance since 2015, Sidley Austin has provided, get this, over $1.5 million in legal work at no cost. Plus $20,000, more than $20,000 in unreimbursed expenses. Since we are honoring Holly Gregory and the entire firm of Sidley Austin, I will now read the names of all 2,000 attorneys at the firm. Is that okay, Randall? Can I do that? Okay, all right. How about just a few that are key? Colleen Brown, Tai Heng Cheng, Christine Duque, Michael Clark, Julia Chester, Jackson Garvey, Marquetta Lint, Teresa Reuter, Wendy Lazerson, Teodora Zlatkova, and Randy Singer. A heartfelt thank you to each of you and many others who have assisted. It is with deep honor and gratitude that I introduce someone I am grateful to call friend, Holly Gregory.
Thank you so much. Really, it is truly an honor to accept this Distinguished Achievement Award on behalf of Sidley Austin and our incredible team of lawyers who all volunteer whenever I call and say, I need your specific expertise. We have a very talented team of lawyers who've worked on the IBMA matters for many years, as Paul has named them. Our law firm is deeply committed to pro bono service, and we do it in a range of areas. We believe that we need to really give back. One of the areas that the firm encourages these good works is for nonprofit organizations associated with the arts, like the IBMA. And frankly, I've been the great beneficiary because it's allowed me to get to know so many of you and combine my professional and my personal passions. I love to provide legal advice to boards in good times and in crisis times, and I enjoy playing, although I'm not very good at it, my mandolin in the bluegrass genre and other genres as well. Now, as Paul mentioned again, I have to thank a number of members of your community for this great opportunity. A decade or so ago, I jumped at the chance to go to Megan's mandolin camp because Sierra Hall was going to be teaching. I'd never gone to a mandolin camp before. And Megan's mom, I think, picked me up at the airport and in the car said, what do you do? This is Maria Nadald. And I told her about, well, I'm a governance lawyer. She said, what is that? And I told her, and she said, gee, I think maybe the IBMA board could use you. And she introduced me to the chair, John Weisberger, and we offered to advise on a pro bono matter, and John, thank you very much. And then when Paul joined the IBMA as the executive director with Joe Mullins as chair, the journey really began. Paul and Joe were just what was needed at the time, and with the support of the board, they led the initiative to really revamp the legal structure that Paul described. And this has allowed IBMA to thrive in a challenging pandemic environment and beyond, and to accept charitable contributions. It's been a great pleasure to work with the board as it's evolved under the leadership of some really great board chairs, John Weisberger, Tim Surratt, Joe Mullins, Ben Surratt, Mike Simpson, Dan Boner, and Adam Engelhart, and of course, a great pleasure to work with Paul when he was the executive director. And now with Ken White in the executive director role and Anna Frick as your chair, the IBMA continues to benefit from steady guidance and leadership from your board and executive director.
getting to know this community and through Sidley's pro bono service to have had an opportunity to play some little role to help strengthen the IBMA and to make sure that it's well positioned to move forward has been really, really personally and professionally rewarding for me, and I thank you for that. Sidley is really pleased to contribute to the IBMA and this community of bluegrass music, which does so much to bring joy to the world and to make the world a little bit more harmonic. So on behalf of Sidley Austin and the entire Sidley team, thank you all so much for this incredible recognition. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sidley Austin LLC. We appreciate all your pro bono work for the bluegrass world. All right, next we're going to move on to Event of the Year. Another thing very dear to my heart. I attended my first bluegrass festival when I was 15, and it really, truly changed my life and really opened the door to this music to me as far as the fellowship goes and actually seeing and interacting with people that could really play their instruments, and it really gave me the impetus to want to really keep doing this. Actually, I just wanted to go to a bluegrass festival every weekend after that, and for the most part of my life, I've been able to do that almost every summer. So these awards, they recognize these events for their astounding accomplishment and service to bluegrass. In the field of production and producing a bluegrass festival takes a lot of work, folks. And we'll start off with the nominees here. DelFest, Cumberland, Maryland. Earl Scruggs Music Festival, Mill Spring, North Carolina. Hartford's Mammoth Marathon, Nashville, Tennessee. High Mountain Hay Fever Festival in Westcliffe, Colorado. And the Jerry Garcia Bluegrass Journey event at Owensboro, Kentucky at the Bluegrass Music Museum and Hall of Fame. All winners, I tell you. But there's only one in the envelope, folks. And the winner is the Earl Scruggs Music Festival, Mill Spring, North Carolina.
Awesome. Well, this is so exciting, and thank you. It's truly an honor. When we started this festival several years ago, we knew one thing for certain, that we wanted to create a really special event to celebrate Earl Scruggs, his legacy, and the way that his music still inspires us all. I'm so proud of our team. We have a wonderful festival producer, Claire Armbruster, and they're all over there. And her team at Planning Stages, Zach Taylor and Bailey Brandon, for their hard work year after year and bringing really unique programming to our festival. The Trine International team, we have such an incredible venue, and I especially want to thank Eric Gilbert and Doug Grondel, and to our committee members, our volunteers, they make it happen, our board, JT Scruggs, Jerry Douglas for the way he supported us, the Scruggs Center staff. It truly takes all of us, including all the fans that come out year after year and the artists. And of course, our partners at Isothermal Community College and WNCW, Support Public Radio. Earl was always pushing boundaries, creating and welcoming new ideas and people. That's the spirit that we try to capture with the festival, and we're so honored to be recognized for it. So thank you again. This means the world to the Scruggs Festival team.
All right, next up is another category near and dear to my heart, Songwriter of the Year. And, you know, living in Nashville, Tennessee, I always tell people, you know, there's millions of songs that nobody's ever heard before in this town. And the hard part is finding that needle in a haystack. But each year, this award recognizes the outstanding contributions by bluegrass songwriters, and the candidates are considered for their own original work and not necessarily the arrangements of previous work or attributed to others or songs in the public domain. The nominees this year for Songwriter of the Year are Becky Buller,
Need a year of jubilee, no one pulling back on me. I wish my mind would let me be. I need a year of jubilee.
Brenna McMillan,
Live here, but I don't anymore. A lot of things have changed from what they were before. Keep holding on to memories so dear, but I've moved far away, and you're not here.
John Weisberger,
Yeah, don't ask me if you don't really want to know.
Rick Lang,
He's preaching blue-collar gospel to all the hard-working folks in town. Chapter and verse down to earth for the lost and found.
and lastly, Tom Utes.
All that's left are stories of what the land was like. They laid down their heavy hammers when they drove the last spike.
All right, and this year's recipient of Songwriter of the Year award is John Weisberger.
Gosh, I'm kind of surprised, really. I want to thank, and the list is short enough. I'm going to read off the folks that I wrote songs with that got recorded during this eligibility period, because I couldn't have done it without them. Tim Stafford, Tommy Marr, Billy Strings, Chris Jones, Thomas Castle, and Jeremy Garrett. And I want to thank also, of course, the artists. And I love this because bluegrass is a big tent, and I'm so happy to have been able to find a creative place in so many parts of that tent. Robert Hale, Fireside Collective, Billy Strings, Off the Rails, Chris Jones and the Night Drivers, Thomas Castle, Nick Dumas, Ray Cardwell, and Jeremy Garrett. I love this music a lot. I love writing songs, and thank you very much.
All right, and on to the next big thing is the next big Distinguished Achievement Award, and that is going to go to my good pal, Missy Raines. And to present Missy with her award, please make welcome Tristan Scoggins and Vicki Vaughn.
Missy Raines, the youngest of 4 siblings, was born in 1962 and raised in Short Gap, West Virginia, an undiagnosed dislocated hip in emergency surgery left her unable to walk until she was 4, but soon after recovery, Missy found herself surrounded by bluegrass at festivals and shows, including Carlton Haney's now legendary 1971 Camp Springs Bluegrass Festival, featured in Bluegrass Country Soul. I can't see what's on the prompter. There might be a picture of her there. Oh, look at that. That's her parents right there, and then that's Missy there in the pigtails on the ground. By the age of 9, Missy, with ambitions of becoming Lester Flatt, was playing guitar with Tom Shrout and the Bluegrass Neighbors, while her dad played a homemade washtub bass, until one day he brought home a real bass that Missy eventually stole for herself. It's the bass she still plays. It's named Bob, named after her father. It's the one she still plays today.
By her teens, Missy had become a bassist for hire, eventually moving to Charlottesville, Virginia to join Cloud Valley, with whom she recorded 2 albums and spent 4 years touring, including a 6-week, 7-country European tour.
Roll the film.
Missy, congratulations. I'm so glad that you have received this award. When I think of all the miles that we've spent together, all of the tunes that we've played, we grew up together in our band based out of Charlottesville, Virginia in the 1980s, learning what professional bluegrass was all about. You have been an inspiration to me for many years. Not only is your playing great, but you've developed into being an amazing songwriter and singer and a wonderful band leader. The personal qualities that you bring to your band leadership were forged with the strong family ties that I saw, and they were an inspiration to me. And not only the strong family, but also your marriage to Ben. In all cases, your family life, your music, the trajectory of your career, but mostly who you are as a person, you will remain an inspiration forever. And I am so glad to call you friend and musical companion. I hope we play a lot more music together in the future, and congratulations once again on this Distinguished Achievement Award.
Following her time in Cloud Valley, Missy spent 8 years touring with the legendary Eddie and Martha Adcock, which also led to her touring and recording with the Masters, featuring Eddie, Josh Graves, Kenny Baker, and Jesse McReynolds. During this time, she and her husband Ben, who would soon excel as a recording engineer, moved to Nashville. Around 1992, her brother's health began to decline. Rick had been diagnosed HIV positive, which at the time was a disease with no cure, killing thousands of people daily. Missy took a break from touring to care for him until the very end.
We're very ahead on the slideshow, so I'll go really quick. Feeling isolated after his death, Missy's mentor, Ed Snodderly, asked if she'd play bass with the Brother Boys, which healed her immeasurably following the pain of her brother's death.
Soon after, she would join the Claire Lynch Band in 1995 after many appearances with them on the Grand Ole Opry. Missy and fellow Claire Lynch band member Jim Hurst toured and recorded as a duo during the band's hiatus before rejoining in 2005.
Missy released her first solo album, My Place in the Sun, in 1998, and by the mid-2000s was transitioning into a band leader, forming the New Hip, named for her early hip replacement.
After 10 years as a band leader, Missy seriously considered retiring from the road until the process of writing Royal Traveler revealed she had something more to say. This was the beginning of her next chapter, as Royal Traveler would be nominated for a Grammy in 2020 and lead to the coalescing of the first ladies of bluegrass.
Yeah. Like a butterfly, she emerged from the chrysalis of pandemic lockdown with a new bluegrass-focused band, Missy Raines in Allegheny, named for her beloved mountain home. Her music synthesizes all what she has experienced and learned in her career and brings her back to her beginnings, though true fans know that she never left. Roll the clip.
Hi, friends. This is Tom Gray. I am so proud to remind everyone that I mentored Missy Raines for years, and I'm so happy that she's now receiving the Distinguished Achievement Award. She's one of the hardest working people in our industry. Her mom and dad were the biggest fans of the Country Gentleman and the Seldom Seen. So she would sit down front and she would talk to me after a show. She wouldn't say, "How did you do that?" She was smart enough to figure it out on her own. She said, "Why did you play it this way?" Like I said, she followed a lot of the shows that I played. She made this beautiful plaque. It said, "It takes guts to play bass," because she knew I always used gut strings. Anyway, she carved this out of wood, and I'm so proud to have this. And we should all be proud of Missy.
Missy is truly the only reason that I picked up the upright bass. I saw her playing with Josh Williams at the Kentucky Opry when I was 13 years old. I couldn't take my eyes off her. To me, she was the main attraction. Riding home with that show in the truck with Daddy, I told him that I wanted to be just like her. I wanted to play the upright bass in a band. I wanted to hold my own on a stage full of boys. She was and still is the coolest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. Years later, I still tell her she's my hero. That's my queen. She's my queen. I can't believe I actually get to call her and Ben my friends, and I'm sure it gets so annoying anytime I tell her how incredible I think she is, but I'm not going to stop. I'll tell you each time I see you, I'm forever your biggest fangirl, Missy.
So sweet. If I believed in such things, I might say that Missy and mine's destiny are and always have been intertwined. Missy's music inspired me early and often, even though I knew nothing about her the first time I heard the new hit, but I remember thinking, wow, I love this music, and I hope I get to play something like that someday. Never even thinking to dream that I'd actually get to play with this mythical bass player whose name was in the liner notes of all these records that I loved. Of course, our paths eventually did cross at camps and festivals, where Missy was always generous and kind to me, who she once described as the saddest looking child she had ever seen. In our time working together, my love and respect for Missy has only grown. Her unfailing optimism, kindness, and respect for every life that shares this planet has modeled the true meaning of virtue. I believe it's not only her musical achievements, but also her devotion to her values to others and to bluegrass that distinguishes her among her peers. Missy's contributions and achievements are too great to number. Her life as a bassist, recording artist, band leader, teacher, mentor, companion, cat lover, and friend have woven her into the fabric of bluegrass music now and forever. Folks, would you like to welcome, say her name with me, Missy Raines.
I don't think so.
That was amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Tristan and Vicki. I'm going to try to be quick because I've written a lot. And I tried to edit, I swear I did, but I couldn't. And thank you to the IBMA for this incredible honor. I found a home and I found my tribe with the IBMA in 1986 or 7, and I learned so much about every aspect of the business by coming to those early conferences and attending every panel and session that I could, no matter how late I stayed up jamming the night before. Much has been captured through the years about my musical influences and inspirations, so I won't mention those again here. Instead, I'd like to use this time to mention some of the people that I've had the great honor to know and who have, each in their own way, made a huge impact on me. You will recognize a few of the names, but maybe not all of them. But I can tell you that my life would have been significantly different without each of them. I wish I could tell you all about all of them, but I can't. But here's a few things. Ray Shreve, who took the time to play blues guitar, old-time fiddle with me so long ago back in Levels, West Virginia. While I didn't know it then, you were showing me that it really was all about the space between the notes. To Bill Vernon, for your friendship, yeah, for your friendship, the Monroe stories, and for all the Ron Carter albums you bought for me. To Bill Evans, my dear friend, for teaching me everything. To Jim Hurst, for the support, the encouragement, and for helping give me the confidence I needed to start a band of my own. To Kelly Kessler, for the undeniable imprint you had on shaping that first band, The New Hip. Your sage advice guided me, and your creativity amazed me. To Kathy Shrout Davis, Pat Shields, to Joe Zahner, to Jimmy Arnold, to Freda Epstein, to Eddie Adcock, Roland White, Lynn Morris, Wayne Bledsoe, Claire Lynch, Tony Rackley, Nathan Bell, Suzanne Hayes, Ed Snotterly, Ethan Ballinger, Tony Trischka, Fletcher Bright, Art Jarvis, Steve Joseph, to Justin Alexander and Derek Vaden, to Mac Wiseman, to Ed Faris, and to Tom Gray for always having time for this kid. To Peter D'Addario and D'Addario Strings, to Larry Fishman, to Patricia Butler, David Butler, and all the crew at Artist Works. To Allison Brown, who always uses her powers for good, never evil. To Molly Farr, to Carlton Haney, because I really don't think I would have chosen this life if I hadn't experienced the magic of your festivals. To my parents, Bob and Betty, who took me to those festivals. To my brothers, Stephen and Rick, and my sister, Barb, I miss you all so very much. To all of my family, both blood and chosen. To my band, Allegheny, the best damn band in the world. To Tristan Scruggs, Ellie Hawkinson, Ben Garnett, and Eli Gilbert. I'm so glad I stuck around for this, because this is great. You make it great. You are magic, and I love you. And lastly, but not least, to Ben Surratt. Yeah. The love of my life, and I'll just quote part of a song I wrote for you. You're the stories I love most, the secrets I hold close. When I reach in the dark, you're my hitching post. And it goes on from there. But Ben, so many times I would have given up, not shown up, not looked up. But you always believed and you were always there. You make the good times exquisite and the bad times bearable. And you are the magic. I love you. Thank you all.
That's not it. Okay. Somebody stole the script. Thank you very much. You know, it's rare that bass players get to play together in a band, and Missy was generous enough to invite me and Todd Phillips to record a song with her, which actually won a Recorded Event of the Year a couple years ago on Little Darling Pal of Mine. So it was great to collaborate with Missy. Next up will be the Broadcaster of the Year Award, Radio. Can't do it without them. Let's go ahead and start with the nominees. These are broadcasters for their outstanding contributions to the service of bluegrass music. First up, Barb Heller. String Fever Bluegrass, North Country
Good
Public
afternoon,
Radio,
and welcome
Canton,
to
New
String
York.
Fever. I'm Barb Heller, and you're you. It's just the way it should be. Whether you're listening from Canton, Potsdam, Alex Bay, Schroon Lake, Newcomb, Glens Falls, or any one of our 31 other translator sites, welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here.
Matt Hutchinson, Bluegrass Jam-Along,
Bluegrass
London,
Jam-Along podcast
England.
For anyone and everyone who loves bluegrass.
Michelle Lee, Smoked Country Jam and Bluegrass Borderline. Michelle Lee on the air, Columbus, Ohio.
Time now for the Smoke Country Jam and Bluegrass Borderline. I'm Michelle Lee, bringing you the greatest mix of country, bluegrass, roots, acoustic, and Americana music, including your country and bluegrass.
Ronnie Moretz, WMMY, Jefferson, North Carolina.
It's the High Country's original bluegrass show, Catgut and Jugs, coming to you live each Sunday night from 8 to 10 p.m. from the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina.
And lastly, Daniel Mullins, Real Roots Radio, Walls of Time podcast, and the Front Porch Fellowship, Xenia, Ohio.
Hello and howdy. I'm Daniel Mullins. It's the Daniel Mullins Midday Music Spectacular. 2 hours of the best in Americana, bluegrass, and country music. It's as easy as ABC, 10 a.m. till noon, weekdays on the Real Roots Radio Network.
And don't miss Swap Shop at 11. This year's recipient of Broadcaster of the Year is going to be Daniel Mullins, Real Roots Radio, Xenia, Ohio.
Wow, this is a huge honor. Want to thank my wife Santana and my baby Daisy. She's here at her first World of Bluegrass. We've been telling her that people came from all over the world to see Daisy this week. So I want to thank my mom, my dad. Grateful that my dad and my papa, Paul Moon Mullins, taught me the difference between a DJ and an on-air personality. That's what I've tried to do. So my first time on radio was reading my third grade school report on Bill Monroe during my papa's radio broadcast. So appreciate being here. God's been so good, and he's been so good to all of us to bless us with bluegrass music. So thank you.
All right, we're getting down to the end here. Next up will be the Writer of the Year Award. And this award recognizes writers for print media and online publications who have shown, great, outstanding contributions to promoting our music across the printed page. The nominees for Writer of the Year this year are Dan Miller. You may know him from Bluegrass Unlimited. Alisa Murphy. Alisa's the author of the new Station Inn book celebrating 50 years. Jessica Nicholson. Gary Reid. And Garret K. Woodward. And the award goes to Dan Miller from Bluegrass Unlimited. Flat Pick Magazine.
All right, well, thank you so much, everybody. I first want to thank the IBMA for acknowledging writers. Writers do a lot of hard work to get the word out there for everybody to read. Secondly, thanks, I show appreciation to the other nominees. Gary Reid especially. Gary, when Walt Saunders said he was going to quit doing the Notes and Queries article for Bluegrass Unlimited, Gary Reid was the only guy I thought could do that job, and he's done it really well. And if you haven't seen Alisa Murphy's book about the Station Inn, you need to stop by her booth and look at that. It's a phenomenal book. Congratulations, Alisa, on that. Also, I'd like to thank the bands and the artists who we write about. You make that job easy, sitting for interviews and answering all our questions. I appreciate you. The readers of Bluegrass Unlimited magazine, thanks so much for supporting us and reading the articles we write. And if you don't subscribe to Bluegrass Unlimited, would it kill you? Okay, come on. Also, I need to thank all the folks on staff at the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum. They make my job easier. Also, Tanner West Publications, who does a great job with the layout and design of the magazine. Thanks to all those folks. I started writing about bluegrass 24 years ago when I started publishing Flat Picking Guitar magazine. And my inspiration for learning how to flat pick the guitar was Charles Sawtelle. So I need to thank Charles. I'm so happy that Hot Rise will be inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight. So congratulations to Hot Rise, and thank you, Charles, wherever you are. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. Next up, we're going to have another musical performance. Would you please make welcome Christopher Howard Williams of the Bluegrass Festival in La Roche, France, to tell you about our IBMA international activity and introduce you to our next showcase band. Chris.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. It is difficult and expensive for overseas bands to come and play here in the United States. Apart from travel, it can cost over $10,000 to get a visa for a band. And there is some great bluegrass around the world that really deserves to be heard here. Who remembers Curly Strings from Estonia at Raleigh? Or Country Gong Bang in 2023? Johnny and the Uahoos last year. All those bands are recipients of the IBMA International Band Grant. Each year, one band is selected from several applicants to come and do this. They'll play at World of Bluegrass Showcase, and then the following year, they will do a tour, taking in places like the Station Inn, the Grand Ole Opry, Romp, Frankfurt Festival, and Grey Fox, and we thank them for their support of this. This is part of the drive of the IBMA to really strengthen the I in their name. And so this grant, like everything else, is donor funded, so please take a look at the IBMA.org website. If you like this, go in there and take a look and help us keep this thing going. This band, I know very well because they're from the UK. They've played several times at our festival. Sadly, two of them were unable to come because of travel issues, but they have a great crew. The whole band will be here next year for their tour, so check them out when they get here. And Evan on the mandolin, this is his first time in the United States. Please make welcome this year's International Band Grant recipient, the often heard from the UK.
I was traveling in the mountains in the middle of July. In the time where I was resting, I had a meeting of the eye. I was buried in my thoughts until I met her again. She showed me where the sights were, she took me to her folks. Her mother made some coffee, her father made some jokes. I said that I could stay, but she smiled and turned away. Try to remember my name, I wrote it on a ticket from my train. Why would you play your little game? Oh, it hurts me, but I'll come back here again. We sung songs together, she sings loud and true. Music so familiar, every word I knew. She played my guitar, and I got lost in her eyes. I found a place where we could stay all night long. Our words echoed around us until the light was gone. I couldn't see her face, but her voice warmed my heart. Try to remember my name, wrote it on a ticket from my train. Why would you play your little game? Oh, it hurts me, but I'll come back here again. left her for the station. I cried a sad goodbye. She slapped me on the back and I set out something in my eye. I memorized her face, and I wish she did the same. Try to remember my name, wrote it on a ticket from my train. Why would you play your little game? Oh, it hurts me. Try to remember my name, wrote it on a ticket from my train. Why would you play your little game? Oh, it hurts me, but I'll come back here again. Thank you so much, IBMA. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. It's just I'm absolutely stunned to be here in front of you all. It's a real pleasure to have gotten over here, myself and Niles. And I'd also just want to thank Haley Grimm and Ken and everyone from the IBMA who's helped us get over here. They've been amazing, and Sydney Austin as well, who sorted all of our visa things out. It's amazing. They definitely deserve that Distinguished Achievement Award they got earlier. Yeah, big hand for those guys. That was our new single, Remember My Name, and I actually wrote that after a trip to Christopher's Festival, La Roche. It's a very inspiring place, beautiful location. The wine is cheaper than the water. So,
yes,
yeah.
Kind of similarly to the IBMA, we've been very well looked after, and at La Roche, it's at the height of summer, and we come from the northeast of England, Newcastle, wonderful town called Newcastle, and even in the summer it's pretty cool. So when we get over to the Alps, a bottle of water is 2 tokens, and a glass of wine is 1 token. So a lot of songs get written, but they don't all pass quality control, but that one did.
Or border control, for that matter.
We're going to carry on now. We've got one more number for you today, and this one is a fiddle tune that I wrote a few years ago, and it was inspired by another trip to a kind of inspirational area. Like I said, we're from Newcastle upon Tyne, which is right on the North Sea coast. And Hadrian's Wall, the old Roman wall, runs through the city, but as you go further west towards Cumbria, it gets very rural and sort of craggy and lots of kind of dramatic hillsides. And at one point in the wall, there's a dramatic dip in the landscape. And until about 2 years ago, there was an iconic sycamore tree that was kind of a symbol for the region, for the northeast of England, until 2 blokes decided to chop it down one night and then had a bit too much to drink, I think. Yeah, this tune was never meant to be, I only ever saw the tree once, and this tune just kind of came into my head later that day, and I decided to call it Sycamore Gap. And it was never meant to be a lament, but that's how it turned out to be.
Thank you, yes. I was about to get onto that.
Yes.
Niles and I came here on Sunday, and everyone, we've met these guys, and they've totally helped us out. Massive hand for our super sub guitarist, Daniel Watkins.
And Cody Tinnin on the double bass there. And our old friend from the UK, we met her when she was playing with her brothers in a band called Cup of Joe, great band. Tabitha Benedict on banjo.
She plays on the single as well.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks once again, and this one's called Sycamore Gap.
That's Niles Krieger on the fiddle, ladies and gentlemen.
And Evan Davis on the mandolin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, for our last and final Distinguished Achievement Award, we present one to bluegrass stalwart and impresario for this music, Ron Thomason. And to present that award, please make welcome Heidi Clare.
Sorry, I just wanted to hear a little bit of it. Hello, and I'm so honored to be here. And huge thanks to Greg Cahill for supporting Ron for this honor. Thank you, Greg. Ron Thomason is a true Renaissance man. His early years above the Clinch River in Russell County, Virginia, were tied with all the succeeding ones for being the most enjoyable of his life. He was an athlete in both high school and college, and his high school football team won the national championship. He's been able to make his living doing the things he loves. He has taught both English and math at almost every secondary level, including college. He farmed, trained, and competed with horses and has been instrumental in the production of bluegrass music festivals and horse expositions, including two great festivals, Gray Fox and High Mountain Hay Fever, of which both Dry Branch Fire Squad proudly host. His professional music career started at the age of 13, and since then he has played and or recorded with the Clinch Mountain Boys, the Wilson Brothers, Hazel Dickens, Joe Isaacs, Ricky Skaggs, Keith Whitley, and a host of others. Nowadays he enjoys such activities as horseback riding, mountain climbing, running, conservation advocacy, cowboying, driving his cars, putting up hay for his horses, and of course, teaching and playing bluegrass music. He started the Dry Branch Fire Squad in 1976 and is known to enjoy making music now more than ever. Dry Branch Fire Squad is noted for its aggressively traditional bluegrass music. It is celebrating its 50th year. In addition to hosting Gray Fox and High Mountain Hay Fever, the band has played the Gettysburg Bluegrass Festival nearly every year since its founding in 1979. Dry Branch has played nearly every year at Hardly Strictly Bluegrass, which is now celebrating 25 years. Emmy Lou has him beat by 1 year, I believe. The Birchmere may be Ron's favorite. The band has played every Friday after Thanksgiving with the Seldom Scene for over 45 years. They have toured extensively in Europe, Asia, Africa, Canada, and all over the US. A special highlight for Ron was performing in Tibet, Nepal, and Morocco as part of the Cultural Exchange Program for the US government. And I would be remiss not to mention that he has recorded well over 25 albums and 1 movie, most of which were for the Rounder Records. I do believe that the horses at the barn are who inspire Ron each and every day. He has owned, trained, and competed with several multiple champions, grand champions, Legion of Honor winners, in disciplines as far-ranging as English pleasure, Western pleasure, halter, endurance riding, competitive trail. There are so many ribbons from his winnings that he cannot hang them all. Yet all those accolades don't mean as much to Ron as spending time riding or just hanging out with the herd. A horse never had a better friend than Ron Thomason. Bluegrass music has brought so many people into Ron's life that have left him forever changed. There are so many great stories, but no time for those today. I will simply list those whose friendship Ron has treasured. Ralph Stanley, Hazel Dickens, John Duffy, George Shuffler, George and Mary Dowd, and Warren Hellman. Ron is honored to be included in this year's Distinguished Achievement Award class, as well as the previous classes, which include his good friend Warren Hellman. Ron's legacy, which he is still building, not by intention, but simply by the way he lives his life, is as varied as are his interests. In his 30 years of teaching public school, Ron made a powerful impact on his students. To this day, he has former students come up to the stage to thank him for the difference that he made in their lives. The numerous awards for his teaching include being inducted into the Tecumseh School's Hall of Honor. He negotiated the first teacher contract for the state of Ohio. And don't think that he has retired from teaching. He teaches lessons to people of all ages, bluegrass, of course, at our local library for our Hayseeds Instrument Library program. And in the bluegrass world, Ron has had a major impact in many ways, as you all know. 2 specific examples are the decision he made with George and Mary Dowd to establish the Gray Fox Scholarship, which has done so much good for so many people over the years. And second, his founding role in the High Mountain Hay Fever Bluegrass Festival, which is nominated for Event of the Year again this year. High Mountain Hay Fever is a nonprofit whose full proceeds are donated to the local community for children's health and wellness. The festival has raised, in 24 years, has raised nearly $1 million. This is a very small town, and done much good for the youth in our community. Ron has been instrumental to the success of High Mountain Hay Fever, and thank you for all those musicians who have come to play there. I cannot think of a more deserving person to receive the honor of the Distinguished Achievement Award. Thank you, Ron, for all you do for bluegrass and beyond.
Just in case I can't handle this, I brought along the great old-time fiddler, Heidi Clare, who's also the 2011 world champion of riding tie. Heidi Clare, the world champion. I didn't understand the rules, and I probably won't blow it to them, but I was left with a few paragraphs because everyone here is so important to me. And to all the other people that sometimes don't even get to hear and play bluegrass music, we do so much to try and make that happen. These, you have to excuse me. These little paragraphs don't really have any connection. Starting with, little is known about the early days when Bill Monroe, Scruggs, Stanley were all doing the same things except at not the same time. They all had different radio shows in Bristol. They had unknowingly at the time discovered the backbeat. But rock and roll was about to run over them, and it made the backbeat its own. Stop that and move ahead. Excuse me. Many years later, the International Bluegrass Music Association, then an actual business, entered bluegrass music the picture, and the music and its patrons began to prosper and grow. I was there. All of us, the founders, were given numbers. Mine was number 8. I don't know what that means. I'm pretty sure Pete Kuykendall's was number 1. Just a few years after the IBMA beginnings, I was asked to usher Bill Monroe into the Rock and Roll Music Hall of Fame. Sadly, 2 days before the event, Bill had been in a car wreck and could not attend, and so one of his famous suits was hung in place. And I went on with the induction. I don't believe so many popular, well-known rock and rollers had ever been in such a big room together. Many wanted to know as much as they could find out about Bill Monroe. It was the first place I had ever heard these words, Monroe rocks. It seemed everyone in the room knew he had discovered their backbeat. What I remember most was that I wept. A few words about the backbeat and what it means to bluegrass music. In the bluegrass genre, it is called the mandolin chop. It lives in rock and roll. Try it. Well, oh, well, oh, well, little things you do and say. And notice how your toe's going to stop in the air. That's what rock and roll brought to everything. And it owed it all to those 4 men way back in the beginning that I mentioned first. The drum beats, the left hand in rock and roll was louder than the right. It separates bluegrass music from country music, if you will. I'm so very happy to be here today. Really, I didn't need to put that there. It's kind of obvious. I always wanted to be a teacher, and I got to be one for 30 years. I got to teach both young and old on how to ride. I have loved bluegrass music since the first time I heard it at the age of 6. And I have performed it first with professionals and for the last 50 years with my own band in the U.S. and also in foreign countries. I've been involved with wonderful friends in producing a Winter Hawk and Gray Fox. 40 years, and we stopped to give away all we could at every time and angle. Many of whom those people are right here before me while I'm shaking in front of them. And I appreciate them coming, help me through. I'm proud to have been involved in the last 24 years with helping to produce the High Mountain Hay Fever Bluegrass Festival, which has donated nearly $1 million to support children's health care in our community. That might not seem like much, but our little community is the size of the state of Connecticut, and it has 2,220 people in it. And so when I got there, no child had access to health care. I didn't write this in here, but I mean it so much. To see what bluegrass music can do to make people well. I love the outdoors. The Sangre de Cristo mountain range starts at the boundary of my ranch, and the Arkansas River runs just below the Bighorn Sheep Canyon. At 81 years old, I can't believe you let me put that in there. At 81, I can still ride as fast as I ever did with these broken bones, but just not as far. I feel lucky beyond belief, and receiving this award from the IBMA is a wonderful gift indeed. I could not overstress that. Clearly, bluegrass music is in good hands. Anybody can see that. And I would ask that you never stop having great ideas, because it's never too late to surprise yourself. Just a few months ago, I got home from touring, speaking of surprising oneself, and the house, the barn, the shed, it was filled with big boxes. It turned out that Heidi had found out that the New York Central Library on Fifth Avenue was not only a place to get books, but also a place to get musical instruments. And so, she had purchased 30 guitars, 25 banjos, 20 mandolins, a host of ukuleles, etc. And this is not in here. But when I got there, she said, "You're going to have to tune these up." And anybody that's ever heard me play the mandolin knows it won't be in tune. Our little 6-block street has a library. So now, if you don't want to try to find parking in New York City, you can come to Westcliffe, Colorado, and not only check out an instrument, you can stay for the Bluegrass Festival. The Bluegrass Festival has never, ever done anything but pay for the festival to work so that it could end up with the children's health care. And you'd be surprised how many bluegrass people have wanted to leave the money there, and we just have a rule, you can't do it. Bobby Osborne was the last person to say that, but we just can't let it happen. It all goes to children's health care where they didn't have any before, and that's what bluegrass music's good for, and all the other stuff that you can think to do with it. Let me share this last idea. I believe when children come to fruition, they should be issued a banjo and a horse. Or something just as good, if you can think of something like that. I thank you so very much for being here today. And let me say just one more for Bill. You folks rock.
Congratulations, Ron. And that brings a close to our event this afternoon. We thank everybody for being here. I'd like to send a shout out to Chris Keenan and Randall Franks backstage for putting it together. We also like to thank Sammy, Mougin, and Jocelyn Skye as our award presenters. All the folks on sound and AV back there, we really appreciate their hard work. It all came together good. And just remember this, you know, if you knew Fletcher Bright, he was a great bluegrass stalwart here, bluegrass in Chattanooga. And his band always had a T-shirt that I always liked. It had a mantra on it that said, "Bluegrass music, sung from the heart, through the nose." So have a great day, everybody. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you at the award show tonight. All right.